Okay, so I have a brief wrinkle overview for you today, and this is in conjunction with the video that I recently uploaded that was a follow-up to my Thinking About Pants Fitting video. So I'm not going to teach you how to solve these wrinkles because that is a whole other big topic, but I just wanted to help you sort of think about these wrinkles when you're experiencing them. And after this, I'm going to also show you some examples on pants with some correlation to like the pattern piece, and just to kind of look at it from all angles. All right, so here I put a muslin here on Jelly Bean that is a little too big. So you can see the rise is way too low, as if we're fitting this for jeans or something. This elastic band right here represents where I like the waist of these pants. All right, so when we're talking about a horizontal loose fold that you can pinch like this, we're talking about too much length and we need to shorten it. So in the case right here, you can see that this rise is way too low, right? And our first step in pants fitting, we always pull the pants up to where we want them, not up to your body if you don't want it there, just where you want them. So now if I want the waist here, I'm gonna have to pull it up by pleating this fabric. Now, yes, I can adjust this from the top here and shorten it, but sometimes you like that waist circumference and you don't want to touch it, and you really just need to get rid of this excess between this waist and your crotch point. So then we're pleating the fabric out, and I actually can't see the rise, so we could probably do a little bit more. And you have this horizontal loose fold of fabric. That is a length issue, and you need to shorten the length. All right, so when I see horizontal strain lines, and this is a little hard to imitate here since this muslin is a little loose, but when I see horizontal strain lines, you know, and I'll show you an example of this as well, up here, maybe even when you're seeing that it's pulling, that's a circumference issue and there's not enough circumference, so it needs to get larger around. All right, so when we have a vertical fold like this, or maybe we have it here at the waist, you know, we need to get rid of some of this waist circumference here. This means that you have a circumference issue. So if you have a vertical loose fold, that means that you need to decrease the circumference and make it tighter all the way around. Okay, I don't have a leg out here, so we're trying to imitate this vertical strain wrinkle. So let's say you have a vertical strain wrinkle and maybe it's pointing like this. When it's pointing on pants, it's probably going to be from the crotch intersection here, pointing up toward the hip or the waist. And that's just going to mean that you have a length issue. You need more length from your waist down to your crotch point. And you'd see something like that, this little bit of strain. And you're going to see this in one of the garment photos that I'm going to show you. And in the back, it'd be something similar like this. Now, this can also indicate, you know, when you have a wedgie that you need to scoop. There's a few reasons to scoop, but that's the main one, is if you have a wedgie. And it's one of the most talked about pant adjustments, but it's used just as much as all the other pant adjustments. So if you're going to see vertical strain like this is generally going to mean that your waist to your crotch point here, that crotch depth isn't enough. Okay, so I pulled some photos of some fit issues. I did my best. I don't have the biggest library of photos. For this first one, this is when you can pinch a horizontal pleat. And in the case for pants, this is usually going to show up as too much rise length, or maybe the waist is too high, and you can pinch that pleat right across the abdomen. And this can happen in the back. Maybe you get a saggy butt, right? And so on the photo on the left, it's hard for you to tell, but I know, because I own these pants and I know how they feel, that and they're a trouser fit. Admittedly, they are supposed to have a lower rise, but I don't particularly like that feeling, and so these are too long for me. I can see how long that is right there, and I can tell just where that is sitting, that it's too long, and I can spot this on a lot of people too. but it's whether they don't like it or not is when it becomes a fit issue. And then here you can sort of see this wrinkle right there. These are supposed to be more of a snug jeans fit and a fuller leg. So here, admittedly, it should be fitting closer to the body. So in this case right here, this is when you want to shorten your rise. You want to shorten that area there. All right, and then when you see horizontal lines that are more like whiskers, it's because it's tight. It's not a loose type of horizontal line. That means there's not enough circumference. So it's sort of the opposite. It's the opposite direction from the one above it here, and you would need to add circumference here. And admittedly, I had a lot of trouble finding examples of this. This is something usually you feel more than anything else, or maybe you'll see the whiskers that point right here. And you can kind of see this on these on the right here. You can see that the belly is having these lines pointing at it. It's also, you can see this rise is kind of sticking away from the body because it's so tight. That's another indication. I know these look kind of strange because of the wide waistband. These were just too low rise for me. So they would have ended up in the too short in the length had I not added this weird waistband. And I ended up changing that. But here, I also want to point out that these aren't necessarily too tight. They are a stretched jean. And some wrinkles are okay. So in this case, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is too tight. This one right here, you see this wrinkle right here? How it's pulling my fly open? That right there, definitely not enough circumference right there. All right, and so now we have the vertical loose. So you could pinch fabric in a vertical pleat. And you can see this really well on these pants here. These are very loose pant. Whether you want to get rid of it or not, that's another question. Back here, this looks a little too full just because of the way it's hanging, and definitely my posture. You can tell my hips are uneven in this photo because look, it's kind of wrinkling right here, but it's smooth here. And that's just probably because I'm resting on one hip more. And then same with these men's pants. You know, men have the exact same fit solutions to their fit issues as women, so it doesn't matter. Now this one here has all sorts of wrong to it. And it's too short going this way, but it's also too wide going this way. So this one, it could have been in both. I think it might be in another, the other fit thing too. So here we're trying to get rid of circumference in these cases. And so this one here, we're trying to get rid of the circumference there. But you will see it, I think, in the next one. Yeah, here it is again. So this is just too short, and you'll sometimes see vertical lines pointing from the crotch to the hips, and that usually just means that the rise is too short. Now here again, you can't tell that this one here is too short. I know it is. These are very low in my opinion, and that's because they were a pull-on stretch woven pant, no fly. So they had to be a little lower so that the waist didn't have to get really narrow above the hips, because if the waist was too narrow, you wouldn't have been able to pull them on. So they had to put this kind of low. And this one in the middle here has a few different fit issues going on, but we're focusing on the one that is happening between here and here. I have a hip tilt, as everybody knows, and so I often need to make sure that this length is correct on me. So here, this is when you're going to want to lengthen this. So again, here we have our four. We have the loose, and you would want to decrease in length or wherever these wrinkles are. Here you would want to increase if you're having horizontal strain. Vertical loose fabric means you want to decrease in circumference, and then vertical strain, lengthen or increase it. And so here we have it again as those four things. And I'm not showing you how to change these things because that gets into so many other details. I just wanted you to start thinking about these wrinkles so that when you're trying to figure out what your pant needs, and remember, some of these will, two of these might be present in the same location like you saw on those cream pair of leggings. So it can be kind of hard to, disentangle the fit issues when you're trying to isolate them. All right, well, I hope that was helpful, and please keep leaving your comments and questions. I really appreciate it, and thanks for checking me out in the guild community that I run, and for subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.